Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and this is my open letter to Joe Manganiello. Joe Manganiello, my name's Scott Garibay. I am a member of the Dungeons & Dragons community, and I am a Philadelphia Dungeon Master. And I have been commentating on Dungeons & Dragons since 2013 for 9 years. I have over 5,000 videos that are Dungeons & Dragons specific, and I think that's my bona fides. And I'm coming to you because I wanted to talk to you about your recent remarks about Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, all right. So I saw your recent remarks that Dungeons and Dragons has gone downhill since Mike Merles was pushed out of Dungeons and Dragons, right? And and I wanted to talk to you directly because I know a lot about you and I know why you're doing what you're doing right now, and I want to warn you. So thank you for your patience with, I know this is an unusual form for an open letter, but this is very needed, and I hope you get a moment to listen to this. All right, Joe, let's talk. All right, so I watched the character sheet on comicbook.com. They do a lot of coverage on current Dungeons & Dragons news, and you, as an American celebrity, saying anything on Dungeons & Dragons is news, right? Now, and what did you say about Dungeons & Dragons? Well, it was very simple. Back in the good old days of 2014, D&D was still cool, but now it sucks. That's a paraphrase, but that's what you did. And the reason why we're talking is I have seen this 100 times. Man gets old, old man shouts at cloud. That's it, dude. I get it. You're not, I understand. Here's why this is happening. You're getting older, okay? An old man shouts at cloud is a thing, right? It literally, get off my lawn, right? Back in the good old days, in my day, pop was a nickel, right? Like, dude, I get it, right? You're frustrated. I understand. I actually know quite a bit about, unfortunately, you're a celebrity, and, that means your public life is kind of like quite public. Your entire life is quite public. I know you've taken some hits lately, just culturally, and you're frustrated, right? And I get it, right? And you're frustrated with Dungeons & Dragons, this thing you absolutely love, because life ain't going perfect, right? And so you're frustrated, and you're frustrated, right? I get it, right? Now here's the thing. This happens all the time, right? And the reason why, as we get older as men, we're drawn to nostalgia, okay? And it's very comfortable. It's comfortable to complain, right? Now, in fact, and I'm not just saying complain like it's some like, oh, you're complaining. There's literally a word for it. What you are becoming is a grognard, right? It means old complainer in French, right? And it is extremely common in Dungeons & Dragons. We age, and then there's this desire to love the Dungeons & Dragons of our youth. In your case, it's the Dungeons & Dragons of 2014, right? And now you're like, oh, Dungeons & Dragons now sucks. In the good old days of 2014, right? The problem is, I want you to just take a tour of YouTube, and what you're going to find is you're going to find old men with beards who look a lot like you, right? Not as in good a shape, right? But look a lot like you, right? And here's what they're going to say. Back in the old days of 2004, you see, you're saying back in the old days of 2014 when Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition was around, things were good. Just shove over left on YouTube and you'll find a man who looks a lot like you, old, with a beard, right? Saying, back in the good old days of 2004, Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition was really awesome. And then just go back a little further and you'll find a guy saying, back in the good old days of 1994, Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition was really awesome. Back in the good old days of 1984, in the 1st edition, Dungeons & Dragons was really awesome. But now it sucks, right? Joe, don't be this guy. Don't be this guy. It doesn't serve. It's a siren call. You're called to it because you're frustrated. You're getting older, right? You're a man, right? Like we're not great at emoting, right? And you now have the siren call of Grognardia, right? And you have a choice. You can go sit in your $250,000 Dungeons and Dragons room, which I know you own because it's been covered on many, many channels, and you can play good old 2014, not that current Dungeons and Dragons. But the reality is, all it's going to do is desiccate you. It will dry you out, right? And you don't want that, man. Like it's not good, right? You do have to be an old man, right? You do have to age. There's nothing you can do about that, but you don't have to act like one, okay? If you are self-aware, I am self-aware, right? I know I am aging, right? And I get the same desires that you get to just sit around and complain. Back in the old days of 2014, but the reality is, if we give up on Dungeons and Dragons now, we go all in on Dungeons and Dragons then we become the person that people liked then, not the person that people like now. And the reason why is we're a quitter, right? Yes, there's lots of problems on Dungeons and Dragons now, but the reason we play it is it's what we protect, right? I stay on Dungeons and Dragons now because I love it, right? And I need to be buying. My heart beats with each new D&D canon hardback, and I want you to do the same. You stop buying those Dungeons and Dragons canon hardbacks, your heartbeat will stop. Your real heartbeat, right? Dungeon, Dragon. Dungeon, Dragon. A true dungeon master's heart beats with each brand new Dungeons and Dragons canon hardback. And if you give in to Grognardia, right, and become a resident in Grognardia, your heartbeat will stop, okay? Your human heartbeat will go on, right? And you'll be a muggle. Nothing. Not somebody who actually lives in the key of D&D, right? Not somebody who actually celebrates the legacy of Gary Gygax today. Don't do it. Do not join that sad sack group of desiccated, no-riz OSR grognards. Don't do it, man. Don't make your OSR 2014 Dungeons and Dragons. Stay on the now. Keep reading Mackenzie DeArmas's amazing stuff. We got great books coming this year. Do not give in to Grognardia. I'm really hoping you hear me and that your heart, your real heart, your Dungeons and Dragons heart keeps beating, and that you don't stop your own heart by not getting the next D&D canon hardback. And I will be getting every D&D canon hardback until they put me in a pine box. You can choose to let your Dungeons and Dragons heart stop whenever you want by joining Grognardia. But I'm really asking you, Joe. I'm a huge fan of your work. I loved you in Metal Lords. I loved you in Mythic Quest. I loved you in Rampage. You're incredibly talented. You still got Riz. You still got a little vibrancy in you. Don't let Grognardia desiccate that out of you. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion, Joe. I hope you're willing to hear it. And if you have a free moment, I'd love to hear what you have to say.